What's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with a preview for the Gups Corner Cup for this week at the RBC Heritage. Jeez, the Masters hangover still has me. Almost forgot what tournament we were on. So let's look back at last week and see where we finished up. This was the lineup that I rolled out. Remember, we are about midway through segment 2 at this point in the Gups Corner Cup, which is shaped basically identical to the FedEx Cup. We barely made the cut and earned points last week. I believe every week is top 70 in ties with a 67th place finish in this contest. We squeaked through for a handful of points, which is kind of surprising considering we took Justin Rose, who missed the cut, earned us 27 points. He was our highest priced golfer. Outside of that, the lineup was fairly strong. To have 4.4% owned Siwoo Kim, who actually he finished T21, but outscored his finishing position. I believe he was actually the 17th highest scoring DraftKings player of the week, which is obviously very helpful. Charles Howell, thanks to his brilliant Thursday, really put himself back into contention. But you can see made a ton of birdies that day, had a birdie streak, scored 72 points, which is only three behind, or five. I guess it's 5 behind Siwoo Kim, who finished 11 spots better than him in the standings. We had Ricky, who surprisingly was lower owned than Tony Finau. Right, Ricky's always a very popular play. He ends up top 10ing this. Tony Finau, who we had in a bunch of lineups, while fading on Sunday, not making enough putts to really contend, and being in the final group and finishing T5 was a little bit of a disappointment, but had that 8 under 64 on Saturday, which just absolutely piled onto his scoring. And then Henrik Stenson, who again, one really good round. He was fine. We just really whiffed on Rosie there. So the winning lineup I thought was pretty interesting. So Good Tricks wins this. Actually, Davis up here in second place. Good Tricks wins this with a fairly chalky lineup. No player lower owned than 13%. He has 2 guys in the 40s. I mean, very solid. This is not a lineup that I probably would have rolled out with, its expected ownership. So what is this? 80, 30. So 80 and 30 is 110, plus 20 is 130, plus another, 30-ish is basically 160%. If you just sum up the ownership here. That's pretty big. That's a pretty big number, even in a small field event. But hey, it worked out because he nailed a lot of these guys. The winner of this contest and the winner of the Millie Maker did not have Tiger Woods in it, which is pretty surprising. So this lineup goes with Cantlay and Charles Howell, Matt Kuchar, Matsuyama, John Rahm, and Xander Schauffele. So the Rahm Schauffele, I guess, was the little bit of the propeller here because they were the lowest owned, even though they were 15 and 13% owned. Both top 10 this thing. Hideki and Kuchar both do their thing where Kuchar finishes T12, but Hideki makes a ton of birdies along the way, scores 73 DraftKings points, and then Howell we talked about and Cantlay a really nice finish as well. So that gave us, let's see here, we are now currently in 60th place. We scored 3.9 points last week, so just a handful. So we're firmly within the playoffs. If the playoffs started right now, we'd certainly qualify. I believe the top 125 get in at the end of the year, and then it goes down to 100 and 75 and 30. I forget the exact cadence, but it's similar to the FedEx Cup. I think there's only 3 playoff events, which is new for the FedEx Cup this year. I believe the GC Cup also follows that. And we're still within it in the segment here, right? 22nd in the segment, and if we look at the schedule. So we just hit basically the midway point of the second segment. So now we have the RBC Heritage. We're going to go to the Wells Fargo Championship, Byron Nelson PGA Championship, and then that Charles Schwab Challenge to round out this segment. So with a couple of good segments, a couple good tournaments in the next 5 or so, we're going to be in pretty good business. So what are we going for this week? With this field, I found this to be a very difficult build. I talk a little bit more about this in the DFS video, but if you wanted to go up and get some of those 10,000 or more guys, you really had to make some sacrifices down at the bottom. I think balanced builds are going to be more popular this week. I opted to go get DJ. When I ran the numbers, he was basically 14% win equity in this thing. So he wins it about 14% of the time, which I believe the next closest guy was like 5%. And actually the numbers that I had, the next closest guy would have been Tommy Fleetwood. The fact that he is priced at 9,200 is pretty wild. So I assume he's going to be pretty popular, but I don't think DJ will, because you could easily go down and get Kuchar. You could get Cantlay again. You can run back some of these guys from the Masters. So loading up on Fleetwood and DJ, I had to go down towards the bottom and play Sabatini, who I guess I didn't have to, but I opted to, who's been playing well recently, has had some decent success here. And then I went with a little bit more of kind of guys that I think might fit the course a little bit. So Corey Connors, great on approaches. These are the smallest greens on tour. You're going to have to throw darts. Grillo, same thing. He's had a little bit of success here. His skill set is the second shot. And then Ryan Moore, who has played well here in the past. We're going to need accurate drivers. Distance not really a factor here. Allowed me to go get some of these guys that I'd probably not play. This is a very, very unique event. I'm actually looking forward to it, because it's going to be, this is really the most, I think this is the most unique event we get on the PGA Tour, just because of how different this course plays, and really anyone can win it. So that's what I'm going with this week. Let me know what you think. Tweet me. It's at DFS On Demand, or leave a comment below. I will talk to you guys later.